Hello, everyone. The last and
Hello.
final.
Good
Hello,
morning.
everybody. Thanks for joining us live. You know, this is the final Coach's Corner of the year, I believe, right? Am I correct on that?
Yep.
Wow.
Calendar year. Yep.
Wow. So, this is going to be a very special one because these are our final words to you from 2024. We've done a few of these, and I'm so grateful that you're here joining us. I'm Jamel Matias, certified Bob Proctor coach, also known as a mindset success coach. And, my Instagram is Believe in the Unseen. It's all about believing in yourself, believing in your goals, and believing in the things that's best for you. I'm going to pass it to Lou.
Two.
Lou?
Oh, to
Lou.
me. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. So, welcome everyone. This week's lesson is fantastic. We're talking about upgrading you and your self-image. So my name is Lou Perica. I too am a success mindset mentor. And what I do is I guide growth-minded women to transform their lives from the inside out with a different approach to success, one that is grounded in universal laws, mind, body, spirit connection, so they can create their success along with fulfillment, joy, and authenticity. Alicia.
Yeah, thank you, Lou. My name is Alicia Espinosa. I am in Sweden, and I am also a Bob Proctor coach or facilitator, and I also a values and mindset coach. I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside and not just look good at the outside, following your values and aligning your goals to your values so you find this fulfillment in what you do. Yes. Paul.
Wow. Thank you. As Lou said, this is a powerful lesson today that we're going to be discussing. And I'm a Proctor Gallagher consultant, a mindset success mentor or coach. And I help individuals achieve their most elusive personal and professional goals. And we're here to help you today. And so listen well. At the end, also, there is going to be some exercises that Lou has prepared and be worth your while to take us up on those exercises. So looking forward to helping you out today in this great panel discussion. Jamel.
Awesome. I'm excited. Do you feel the energy? I'm really excited for this. Speaking of excitement, for everyone that's watching this live, do not be a stranger. Feel free to put any comments, any questions as we discuss this material because we're sharing our experience, our knowledge, the essence of who we are, with you. So feel free to be open to converse with us because we're here to help you with this, not just pass on knowledge.
Don't be
So,
shy.
Lou,
No, I was just saying, don't be shy.
exactly. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. And
Don't be
speaking of that, being shy is part of your what?
self-image.
Exactly. Today's topic, we're talking a lot about self-image and how, Ejike, thanks for joining us. How your self-image shapes your results and your reality and what you achieve in life. It's so, so important. So to kick things off, let's start it. What was one thing, this is for the whole panel here, one thing you remember about your self-image that was holding you back from your higher self or your goals? And what did you do to kind of shift it or improve your self-image?
Mm.
I can start. I would like to start to say what self-image is first, because sometimes we mix up with self-esteem and self-confidence. But self-image is the picture, the image you have of yourself in your imagination, because then self-esteem is how you feel worth of yourself, and self-confidence is when you know that you can do something, but they are very, very correlated to each other. So for me, in the self-image, the to answer your question, Jamel, it was very. I was. I don't know how to say that. Can you repeat the question so I can?
Sure. Yeah. What was one thing you remember about your self-image that was holding you back from?
Yeah. For example, now in these years, the last 10 years, I am not from Sweden, so I am from Panama, and I something that was stopping me from doing more, like sharing my knowledge or everything that I could to help people, was the barrier of the language, because I was like, but I am not sweet. Who will understand what I say? Maybe I don't speak right. And the same is with the English, you know. So it was a lot that was stopping me there. And then I decided that, okay, the reason that I don't speak both English or Swedish perfectly. I mean, I speak very good Swedish, I believe, because I've been here 33 years, but still some languages that is difficult for a Spanish person to articulate. And the same is in English, is that I decided that, okay, I am good enough. I can help people with this. And the language, because I don't speak that perfectly, it means that I can other language. So that is why it helped me a lot. And then also I started to, for me, setting my goals was a very good thing, that I could start to thinking, okay, to achieve that goal, who do I need to become? And for me was to be more courage, because my courage, I don't know how it is where you live there, but when I was a child, I was like, you cannot talk to people that you don't know. So in my self-image, I was that person that, no, I don't talk to people that I don't know. I no, it's wrong, So all the time was that in my self-image that I had. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll go next. So for me, it's really funny because we talked about this in previous weeks, and I realized just how much of sleepwalking I had been doing for decades. So self-image to me, until I started to understand it, was really just how I presented myself.
Yeah.
And it was just as simple as that: how I walked, how I talked, how I dressed, how I communicated. But I really never thought much about it. It was just me. And it wasn't until I started to study the material that we study, the thinking into results, psycho-cybernetics, did I start to learn that I actually have, or we all actually have, two self-images, right? The one that we project to the outer world, and then the one that's deep inside, the one with the conversations that we have with ourselves, what we believe we can achieve, what we're capable of doing or not doing, how we think people think about us. So I never realized any of this. And so I didn't realize that I also had the power to shift that identity if I chose to. And I decided now, after studying, realizing that my self image was really created for me by other people since we were children, right? We were taught and we were recording information and different ways to perceive the world, how we look at the world, how we think the world looks at us, but it was handed down to us. So we just carried that torch, so to speak. But it wasn't until I started to study this material that I understood, well, wait a minute. If I want to have a goal much larger than I've ever achieved before, would the same old Lou that has been around for decades be able to achieve that? And I started to think, well, if she could, then maybe she would have already done it. So, what I have to do is shift the perspective I have of myself. I had to create a new image. I had to create this image that had the guts to do a Facebook Live, had the guts to come on and do a coach's corner, had the guts to be vulnerable and put herself out there and really speak a language which majority of people are not speaking. It's becoming more popular, more common, but we typically speak a language that not a lot of people are speaking in their everyday language. So for me, shifting my identity, my self-image was an enormous part of me achieving what it is that I have achieved and continue to want to achieve. But I had to create the new Lou. I had to say goodbye to the old Lou, say thank you very much. She got me to where I was, and now it's up to me to decide who I want to be and the characteristics and how I want to show up. So self-image is everything is run by your self-image. Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Lou. That I think Lou just summed it up so, so well, so articulately. Um, I don't know. What do you much to add to that? I mean, that was so well said, right? But like, personally, like growing up, I was like almost painfully like shy, and so why? I mean, that like Lou said, I mean, I felt that's just the way I am, and I would just say, well, that's just my personality. That's just who I am. That's and just deal with that. But that doesn't have to be that way. As Lou said, you have to create a new self-image about yourself, and that takes work because we've all been programmed, to act, behave, through a lot of influences growing up, to be a certain way. And we just have to project ourselves. We have to push out, from that comfort zone that we have and put ourselves out there. And so, to readjust that thermostat, readjust that programming that we have. And we're going to talk about that in a bit, right? About programming and how it's like a thermostat, but how we have to constantly readjust that so we don't keep going back to that same limiting belief about ourselves, because that's what it is. And the one thing I love about this is that we were taught that a person will never perform beyond their limitations or those self-limiting beliefs, right? They're your self-imposed limiting beliefs. You'll never outperform what those beliefs are about yourself. So you have to really, really adjust. And for me, it was just putting myself out there and, believing that, hey, as we talked about in previous calls, failures, they're just stepping stones. They're just stepping stones to success. They're just giving you feedback. And we don't have to, of course, we could have a very fragile self-image where any little failure, any little setback is like, oh no. And then we go back to that limiting belief that we're not good enough, so we have to just keep building on that. And like we talked about in previous lessons, failures, they're just stepping stones. We just have to continually push ourselves beyond that. And we're going to give you some steps on how to do that. But it really is just taking those steps forward and creating a new image about yourself. And that takes work and takes repetition, because it was through programming in our lives that set us up for this internal, belief system where we're holding ourselves, within those boundaries, but there really aren't any boundaries for ourselves. And we're going to dive deeper into that in a minute. But I just don't know what to add to what Lou said, but it was so well said. But yeah, so we just have to push ourselves past those limiting beliefs and just, set up smaller goals, smaller achievable goals, little successes, and build on those little successes, and to give us that confidence. And as Alicia said, confidence and self-esteem, it's not your self-image, but they're really, really related. But it's just by doing those things and setting yourself smaller goals, achievable successes, recognizing, looking back on your little successes and building on those. I'm going to give it back to Jamel.
Wow. What do I say now? You all explained it so well.
Bye.
Call's over. Thanks for coming, everybody. You got my wheels turning, when you all speak. Paul mentioned little wins, right? Small wins. And that is also based on your perception, right? So remember, there's good in everything. So see yourself progressively getting better, of course, when you have a goal. But I was thinking about self-image growing up. I didn't know what that really meant. I didn't know I had a self-image. I was totally unaware of myself. And I heard of the word, but I'm looking through my life, elementary, high school, college, etc. And you don't realize that your self-image is being developed throughout your whole life, even being unaware of it. So it's what you believe of yourself. There's different ways to look at it. It's a lot of how you see yourself, like Alicia mentioned, and how others see you. And then there's also a version how you can see your future self or your higher self. And it's really what you believe in, what you believe in about yourself. Do I believe that I'm confident? Do I believe that I can do anything? Or am I shy? Or do I, there's tons of different avenues you can go with this. But what you believe in is what's on the subconscious mind, right? You see how he just popped up out of nowhere, This is an image of your mind, and it's what I'm getting like Alicia with props.
Yeah.
I know you got some stuff over there, but the point is, it's what you believe in your subconscious mind, right? So you have all these different, they say the eyes are the windows of your life, of your soul. So sometimes when you see certain things, I remember watching cartoons, growing up, great movies, Wizard of Oz, Never Ending Story, all these grand, beautiful stories. And I would soak in even the music. I would listen to the orchestras and all that. And a lot of this is shaping your self-image. And your self-image dictates throughout your life what's on the outside as well and what you accomplish. So if you're not, satisfied where you are with your self-image, you can always change it. It's not your fault that you were unaware that it was being formed, but now that you have this type of knowledge and we're talking about it, having a dialogue, you have the ability to choose whatever self-image that you want that matches the version of you that has the results that you want, whatever it's money, material things, lifestyle, it doesn't matter, the desire. It's basically, the self-image that you choose and you adapt. Kind of like method acting, right? We can go down that avenue as well, talking about method.
I would like to add something, how I myself think about the self-image. And I
a prop is coming.
No,
Okay.
I like, so inside us, deep inside us, we have our authentic self. This is who we are, the person that we meant to be from the beginning, when you follow your values and so. But then I feel that we have also the next layer is the negative self-image, and is the self-image, you are yourself, you are authentic, but upon that you put the self-image that is the negative, is because you have some shame, the person you are afraid you are it will be there. And then we have one more layer. Sorry that it's not so round. And this is the pretend self-image. The self-image that we project to the people because we create that self-image to hide the negative self-image that we are afraid that we are. And then we have the authentic self-image. So when you start to find yourself, who I am, beside this name I have, my body, who I am, what is my philosophy of life, all this, and starting behave as your authentic you, this will disappear more and more because this type take a lot of energy. To the pretend self-image takes so much energy from us, but when we try to be the person that we are born into, then you don't need to pretend anything because then you are you, and the people that like you, they like you anyway. But this pretend self-image that we have is so difficult. Sorry, somebody called me right away. So when we start to live from the authentic me, my authentic self, then I don't need to pretend. I don't need to put so much energy in being somebody else to be people like me. I need to like myself. I need to create that person. And I was talking to a client of mine. I say, yeah, but I don't want to be another person. Oh, no. When you start working with you, is to find who you are. Who are you? The authentic you. When you start to working with, learning who you are, you are already there. I only helping you to discover that. It's inside you, So I just wanted to say how I think when I think about the self-image.
Can I just tap in? I just want to piggyback on something you said, Alicia, about the pretend self. So when I look back, and I'm sure many people can resonate with this, you show up differently with different people. So for an example, let's just take a family environment with whatever, parents, siblings, grandparents, whatever. You most likely show up differently energetically, your personality, when you're with your parents. Then you show up differently when you're with your siblings. And you go visit your grandparents, for an example, you show up differently there. We're showing up how we think the other person thinks about us. That can get a little complicated. But when you become your authentic self, when you tap into and allow yourself to be true to yourself, you start to show up the same way everywhere and with everyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to shift energies. Even though you're doing it unconsciously, you don't realize you're doing it. But when you can just show up as you and be authentic, then it's up to the other people whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter to you anymore, right? To thine own self be true, right? To know thyself, this is why it's so critical, because you don't have to split your energy. You can just focus your energy on just diving deeper and deeper about really being authentic. And this is where true fulfillment and joy comes from, because a lot of the BS is just starting to fade away. And this is really being empowered. This is really taking back your power and being fully 100% responsible for your life, for your results, for everything. So I just wanted to piggyback on that.
Very good.
Yeah, this is amazing because we can go really deep with how, you know, with the self-image and authentic, right? That's a very, very key word there. So how does your self-image impact your ability to achieve your goals? And what can you do to align it with the life you truly want? Great question. You know, I was really thinking about this before, you know, getting to this question here. Um, I'll just start this one off. You know, your self-image is connected to your goals, right? So what can you do to align it with the life you truly want? You know, you can recreate yourself. I look at like music artists, like there's Madonna, you know, Janet Jackson. A lot of these artists, they change their look, right? And they were adapting to certain trends in music. And notice how we're presented here. You know, you see our outer selves, right? Lou had the wonderful blazer on last weekend, but you know, you see the outside of us, right? So this is how we're projecting ourselves to the outside world. So when you compare it to like music artists changing their look or whatever, their hair, even down to the perfume or scents they wear, the jewelry, all of that, they're basically shifting their self-image to match whatever they call them, like video treatments and certain things where I want to match this video or I want to match this song, this feeling, this vibe, this color, right? So it's very deliberate. So you can look at yourself that way, right? I was really shy. You would never guess that. I can talk on camera all day long till my voice is hoarse until I lose it. And it's happened many times. You know, my dog, she passed away, but she used to come in lives and bark like crazy when the doorbell was ringing or the postman, you know, post person was there. So, or we got packages, you know, my daughter used to barge in the office and the old me would be, oh no, my life is ruined. I laugh at it and I let spirit kind of the whole moment take over. So my self-image has changed. So you can create it. And I kind of went off subject. Well, no, this is on subject because it's connected with your whatever goals that you want. Who do I have to become? Who do I have to feel like? Right. And this is when you're impressing your subconscious mind. You can't outperform your self-image. So you have to choose who you are. You know, are you always early? Have you been late? Are you dedicated? Are you consistent? You know, and do you show up for yourself? That was my affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful now that I show up for myself every day. And I had to keep telling myself that. That shift my self-image because my old self, it wasn't producing the results that I wanted. You know, so that's just how the outside is connected to the self-image because the self-image is first. It's always an inside job. You know, the outside matches the inside. So if you're staying the same person over and over, you're going to get the same results, you know, and this is why we talk about this to kind of help you with this material because, you know, living through it and experiencing is different than just hearing it. Right. Now, does anybody want to kind of take off there?
Sure. Well said, Jamel. Really well said. Yeah, a person's self-image, it plays such a critical role in our ability to achieve the goals because it shapes how we see ourselves, right? It shapes how we see our abilities and our potential. A positive self-image, that's going to, you know, give us self-confidence. And that drives us to take on challenges and to persist even when we're faced with adversity. Whereas if we have a negative self-image, then I'm going to have self-doubt and I'm going to be hesitant to take risks or pursue opportunities. And then any little blip in the road is like, oh my gosh, like I'm just, you know, like Jamel said, I've just been hit by a truck. But when you see yourself as capable or you see yourself as worthy, then you're more likely to set ambitious goals, and you believe in your ability to achieve them. Again, conversely, a negative self-image will lead to setting lower expectations, right? We lower the bar so that we avoid, that failure. So we just set it lower because we don't want to fail. A strong self-image helps us bounce back from failures and setbacks, because you just see them as temporary, right? And they're separate from our identity. It's just something that happened. It's just a learning experience. But if it's fragile, if that self-image is fragile, then the failures can be, we're going to look at them like a personal flaw. It's a personal flaw on myself when I fail, but it truly isn't. And so a strong self-image, that's going to enable me to push past my fears and past my limiting beliefs, and extend myself to beyond things where, things that might otherwise hold me back. I'm going to step beyond that. And so, a negative, if the negative self-image, then the fear and doubt is going to prevent me from taking those risks. So I've just got to flip the switch. It's just flip the other side of the coin. And by cultivating a strong self-image, then I'm going to set the boundaries to take, or I'm going to set the foundations. I'm going to set, create new boundaries. I'm going to set the foundations to take consistent, as Jamel said, consistent, confident action towards achieving those goals. And it takes a bit of work, but it's so worth it, right? Because we show up as a person that we truly want to be. Like Alicia said, it exposes our true inner selves. And as Jamel said, it's an inside job. So it starts from the inside out. And we're not so influenced by the outside factors that are going on around outside of us. And I'll pass it on to my colleague, Lou.
Okay. Well said, Paul. Thank you. Something you said earlier, Paul, um, about offense. So I want you to think about when we're children, when we're small children, babies come into the world, they're happy, they're curious, they're fun, they take risks. But little by little, and a parent doesn't realize that they're doing it. I mean, I did it, but majority of parents don't realize that they're doing it. Oh, watch out. Oh, be careful. Don't touch that. Right? And little by little, fear and self-doubt start sinking in. And what happens is, and I use the analogy of like your backyard. You have a fenced in backyard, and we've all become very, very comfortable in that backyard. We know where all the tree roots are, the little dips in the grass, where there's dirt, so we're very familiar with that backyard. Those are our boundaries. And yet sometimes when we look over the fence, we see other people doing things, and it's like, wow, I wish I could do that, but no, that's not me. I just stay within my boundaries. So this is why when you start to understand that our self-image is really programmed, there's fear based on it. We're afraid of what people will say. We're afraid of being laughed at. We're afraid, sometimes you're in an environment. Who do you think you are? Oh, you're too big don't get too big for your britches. Don't forget where you've come from. So a lot of these comments that we grew up with in our environment, they are meant really to keep us where we are. But you had mentioned, Jamel, about celebrities, and I was just watching. I don't know if anyone watched I don't know what football game it was, Texas and someone with Beyonce.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right? So I remember once Beyonce said she comes on as, I think that she calls it Sasha Fierce, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. So think about the energy she has to step into when she puts on these magnificent costumes and she does these dances and she's got the hair flicking, it's incredible. But that takes a lot of energy to live like that every day, right? But she steps into that energy. She shows up because she knows she has to get on that stage and present herself as someone extremely confident, knows what she's doing, and she is in control, right? And what happens is, though, little by little, when you step into this new energy, something that's unfamiliar to what you were all your life, and you start to accept it, and those qualities and those characteristics start to now become part of who you are. And it's just like a snake, you start to shed the layers, the old layers of you, and you start to become, and you find yourself behaving a little bit differently, speaking a little bit differently, right? You'll start noticing that your environment starts to shift. You want to start to have deeper, meaningful conversations with growth minded people. So this is all part of shifting your identity, but just know this, it is you. You're not pretending to be someone else. It is you. It's just another version of you wanting to come out. And that's why we started off with these coaches call with the goal. This is why a goal is so important, because a goal, something that you've never done before, is calling for a newer version of you.
Mhm.
It's calling for you to step out of your comfort zone. It's calling for you to believe in yourself. It's calling for you to step away from fear and step into faith, right? So it's just a better version of you, just like we upgrade our phones, our TVs, our wardrobes, our haircuts. It's just a newer version of you, but you get to call the shots.
Mhm.
And this is why thinking about what you truly want is so important, because if you don't have a new idea, there will not be new thoughts.
Wow.
Mhm.
Bob
Wow.
is speaking through all of us here. I
I
love it.
that was nice that you talk about celebrities, because you know that there is a syndrome that is called the paradise syndrome, and it's when the celebrity go too fast to be a star.
Yeah, yeah. And then
The
they crash.
self-image that they have is not in alignment with the self-image that they need to have, and
Mhm.
then they start the self-destructive behaviors.
Yeah.
This is the paradise syndrome. What I want to say about the goal and the self-image is, I have many years before, I have a client, and she wanted to be better in her eyes. She was too big. She wanted to start workout and so. But then she told me, "Yeah, but I am so lazy." And I say, "You are not allowed to say that you are lazy, because if your self-image, if you are telling yourself that you are lazy, then you will create behavior that will match that picture you have of yourself." I say, "Yeah, but I'm lazy." "No, you are not lazy. You have only two competing needs. So maybe you don't go to do the workout because your need is to stay at home with watching TV and feeling safe or something like that, you know." So I don't believe that there are people that are lazy. I only think that there are behavior or needs that need to be met, and they are competing to each other. So I told her, "You are not allowed to talk about yourself as lazy." And I tell my clients, "You are not allowed to bully yourself.
Mm.
Because, you know, I was bullied when I was young, when I was a child. And I realized that later on in my years, years, that I was bullying myself with the words that I hear before about you are this and you are this. And I was, oh, how stupid I am. And so, you know, oh, you are not worth anything, or you are that. I was telling myself that.
Mhm.
I never will bully myself. And I tell my clients, you are not allowed to bully yourself when I am in with you or when you are alone.
Mhm.
Because the what we tell to ourselves, it become a part of our self-image.
Mhm.
So don't bully yourself. That was the
I love that, Alicia. I love that. And I'm so glad you brought that up. Words have tremendous power. And, Neville Goddard talks about inner speech. And when you speak, you're speaking the inner soul and or the inner self-image. So when you say these negative things, and being a coach, I hear different now. I hear when I speak to people the words they choose and the words they say about themselves. And Alicia really, hammered home there the importance of not speaking negativity into the universe,
yeah.
because it's a perpetual cycle. You'll recreate what you don't want. Oh, I'm bad with names. I used to tell myself that. Now I'm great with names. Every person I'm meeting, I say their name in my head before I even talk to them again. That way I'm building my self-image, and there was something I was thinking about as you were speaking, you know, give yourself self-love. You got to boost yourself up. If you don't boost yourself up, who else will? You go in the mirror and tell yourself, awesome. I am wealthy. I am powerful. I am worthy. I am strong. Whatever you have to tell yourself that's opposite of your limiting self-image, do it. Because what this does, it raises the essence of who you are, and the outside matches the inside. This is why Lou mentioned, the goal is important because you got to know where you're going. You can't just go left and go right and go straight, go left and go right. It's all over the place. You got to get order of the mind, which is essential. So once you have order where you're going, now you know who is that person with that goal that I never achieved before that I really want. So your self-image is so important. We can do so many calls about this topic because, and you know what, when you're in the mirror, maybe your New Year's resolution is to lose some weight or tone up or eat healthy, no alcohol or whatever it is. Don't focus on, oh, I need to lose weight, right? Notice the key word, lose weight, right? So you're announcing that you constantly need to lose weight. You want to shift your wording a little bit, right? I am the perfect weight. I eat the healthy foods. I am conscious, whatever, terms that you want to use that doesn't have that negative connotation to it. So words are very powerful. I hate mentioning books, but there's one called Hung by the Tongue. It talks about your speech and what you say to yourself, but you're also saying to infinite intelligence. And you got to be very mindful of what you put out there. And it's not to drive you crazy and like, oh, I said this, I said that. It's just to make you more aware, right? And this is why personal development and mentorship is so important. Doing this on your own, all of us here, imagine doing this on your own, right? So this is why, you get professional mentorship, because we can hear your speech. We can even feel you, some of us, right? So yeah, thank you, Lisa, for mentioning that. Just give yourself some love today. Please do. Because we let so much outside beat us up. And we even beat ourselves up. I was bullied as well. I was always a small kid, and I remember playing football. I was the small guy sitting on the bench all the time, you know. But one year it snapped, and I said, I'm going to be the best player this team has ever seen. So I would train harder. I would run faster. I would do extra stuff. I would work out. My mindset shift, and you can do that. It's funny how these stories come to mind. Intuition just keeps flowing. But hopefully that's helpful. Did anybody want to add anything there?
Now, I want to add that because the what we tell us is so important, as you say. I have another client, and she came to me because she wanted to have a job, but she told me that she will never get the job because the way she looks like. And I said, okay, what is the problem? Yeah, I don't see anything that is so. And in her eyes, she was also big. And she said to me that when she went to the town, everybody was looking at her and laughing about her and say, yeah, do that people? And she said, yes, they do that. And they staring at me. And I say, okay, let me ask yourself, what do you say to yourself? What do you think about yourself? And she say, oh, but I am disgusting and I don't do that, this, that. She started to talk all this, vomiting all the bad things about herself. And I say, of course, then people will see you as you see yourself. So she got an exercise to go to the town and be proud of herself. And and I said, you need to do this for a week. Go out, be proud of yourself, go with confidence. And she went to that and she came back and said, oh, people were smiling at me, all the time. But it's what she had in her head about herself that what attracting all this bad thing that she perceived as not good. So what we tell us is so important.
I just want to just quickly to talking about words. I'm reading Four Agreements right now, and the very first agreement is be impeccable with your word, because words cast spells.
Mm.
They cast spells onto yourself and onto other people. So this is why to be very mindful about what you're about to say, whether it's to someone else or to yourself. Be mindful of the dominant conversation that we have with ourselves, like the woman that Alicia was just expressing, sharing with us. Because last week we talked about the secret genie, and the secret genie looks for evidence to prove our beliefs.
Yeah.
The secret genie is like a GPS system. It's always searching, or a Google, like a search engine. It's looking for the answers to prove our beliefs. So really think, this is why we've heard, think before you speak. Think before you speak, because words cast spells. They're very powerful, very powerful. So I just wanted to just mention that. So be impeccable with your word, which is the first agreement.
True indeed. True indeed. I like that. Words cast spells. I like how that's spoken. I love it. All right. So how does, let me get this question here. How is our self-image like that of a thermostat or like the autopilot setting on a plane? Anybody want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'll begin. That's such a great question. And again, this is such a great topic. Like all the topics, every week we get on here and say, oh, this is a great topic. This is the best one. But if our self-image is weak, we're not going to step out, because we're going to have these limiting beliefs, right? And we're going to keep going back to where that thermostat is set. So your self-image is like a thermostat, right? Or like the autopilot setting on a plane, because it regulates our behavior. It regulates our actions and the results to align with the setting that we hold about ourselves, right? So a thermostat is programmed to maintain a specific temperature in your home. So if you're in the US and you have Fahrenheit, maybe it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're in Europe or Canada, it's Celsius, so maybe it's 20 Celsius. So it's programmed to maintain that specific temperature. So similarly, your self-image has a set point for what you believe you deserve or are capable of achieving. So if your external conditions and challenges or opportunities push you outside your comfort zone, your self-image kind of drags you back and guides your actions to return you to that set point, right? Keeping you safe. And Lou talked about this earlier, right? We were taught, oh, your parents say, don't do this, be careful, get off the fence, don't, stay inside these boundaries. It's meant to keep us safe. That it's good meaning, but it's keeping us, preventing us from really growing. For example, and this is one that people can relate to, a lot of people can relate to, is you might say to yourself, I'm not good at public speaking. And so subconsciously, I'm going to avoid opportunities to speak, and I'm going to keep myself at that same level. But on the flip side, if I see myself as capable, then I'm going to rise to the occasion and I'm going to take on that challenge and I'm going to push forward. So to achieve the new heights, I need to reprogram my self-image, that autopilot setting, to believe in and aim for a higher version of myself. The self-image, we've talked about this, it sets the boundaries of your performance, just like the thermostat or the autopilot maintains equilibrium. So by continuously adjusting or reprogramming the self-image, and it takes a bit of work, but it is so worth it, right? Because you really feel like your authentic self. You are going to expand your potential, and you're going to ensure that your actions align with these goals, right? We set these goals. So how are we going to achieve those goals? Well, it has to be in alignment with our self-image. So reprogramming, and we're going to give you some exercise to do, but it's really, really important, and to really bring out that authentic self that's really wanting to get out and express itself. And we are subconsciously at times just suppressing who we really, really are. So it's really important.
Yeah. Well, one of the very clear example of the self-image as a thermostat is the people who win the lottery, because they have done a lot of studies about people who win the lotteries, and because their self-image is not aligned with the person they win the lottery, they will use that money and will get back to minus in money because of the thermostat in their self-image. They don't feel worthy about the money. So this is a very, very, very important. So it's a very clear example of the self-image, how important it is to work with that. And that is what I wanted to say.
Jamel?
Sure. When I think about the thermostat or like autopilot, the self-image wants to be kind of comfortable. We're used to it. It's kind of like warm water or whatever, like a warm bath or whatever. You're not jumping in a cold bath every day, right? So you want to be comfortable. I know some people that train do the cold plunges, but it's not every day. I'm just going to take a cold bath the rest of my life, or a cold shower, right? So the self-image is kind of connected. Well, it is connected to the paradigm, right? So the paradigm is a multitude of habits fixed in your subconscious mind. So even habitually, you're being this version of you, a lower version, right? And not even knowing it. So because you're so comfortable, right? That's why you can't escape a prison if you don't know that you're in one. So you're kind of imprisoning yourself, but you're desiring more. So what do I have to do to change that temperature? Maybe raise it 5 degrees, maybe raise it 10 degrees or 20 degrees, right? Where that 100 degrees is comfortable, right? So it's so cool to look at it that way, because the paradigm and self-image are kind of intertwined, and your results will always, the fruit of your labor, right? The fruit of the tree or whatever will tell you what level you're on, what frequency you're on, right? What's the term? The fruit, you shall know them. The fruit
By
meaning,
their fruit, by their fruit.
thank you. Yeah, by their fruit you shall know them. So basically, what results you have in your life, what results do you desire? And that will always be the temperature that you're striving towards. You need to raise the temperature or lower, depends on your perception, right? Get out of that comfort zone. And we have amazing exercise to help you kind of adapt and apply, what we're talking about here. Lou.
So I love the analogy of the thermostat, um, because that's what mindset is. Your mind is set. See, this is what a lot of people that use the word mindset, they don't really understand that your mind is set, just like the thermostat is set on 70 degrees. And when somebody opens the front door and it's cold outside and a gust of cold air comes in, the air temperature fluctuates. And what it does is it sends a signal to the furnace to kick on, because now the room temperature has dropped to maybe whatever, 65. And now the furnace will kick back on to bring it back to 70 degrees. So we're the same. And now that we have the holidays are coming, the New Year's is coming up. So here come the resolutions. And many, many people want to release some weight, right? So I want you to think about this. Consciously, our thinking mind, we want to release weight. But subconsciously, where our programming is, it has an image. It has a set image of who you think you are. It doesn't matter to the subconscious mind, because it's just a program. It's impersonal. But there is an image. And if you've always seen yourself as, unhealthy, over whatever that image may be, and you say, you know what, this year I'm going to release some weight. Consciously, that's what you want to do. So you go on a diet or whatever you do, and you release some weight, you get healthy, right? And then little by little, if you have not changed that image through constant space repetition, seeing yourself healthy forever, like this is me, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm fit. If you don't change that image, eventually that image will bring you right back to.
Oh,
There's the paradigm again.
yeah.
Poor Lou.
Paradigm.
Oh,
Yeah.
right at the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she should probably come back on here.
Yeah.
So let's
Some,
go ahead.
something that I want to add to this with self-image is that knowing that life is like a roller coaster, that you maybe achieve something and then you go back down, but because you have already worked with your self-image, you come back to the to the level that it was, because sometimes we think that we always will be like positive everything when we work with our self-image. No, it's knowing. For example, I came to Sweden and I don't have anything from when I came to Sweden, but I work a lot. I have a master degree here in Sweden, and so working, and then I divorce. And when I divorce, I say, okay, I know that I can come back because who I was who I created when I was working with myself. So okay, it comes something down, life come, and then I started to, because I have already that self-image that I could do the thing. I can come back and even stronger. So I just wanted to add that.
Hey, Lou's back. That was great, Alicia. That was good. And Lou, did you want to finish your train of thought there?
I don't know where it left off,
Okay.
but I was saying when the room temperature fluctuates in a room, when the cold air comes in, and the thermometer now reads 65, we can't go to the thermometer and change the temperature. We must go to the thermostat, which is our programming. We must go there, not to the results. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to fix the results on the thermometer. Looking at the thermometer, say, no, I want you to be 70 degrees. I want you to be 70 degrees. It doesn't work that way. You have to go to the thermostat to adjust the temperature, to make permanent changes. So I don't know where I got cut off or I dropped, but I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. All right. So last but not least, what, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, what influences an individual's self-image?
I'll start there. So there's a lot of things, right? So our early life experiences. So first of all, the parental feedback, right? The support, the criticism from our parents, this is where we come from. You can't do that. Money doesn't grow on trees, all sorts of different things that our parents, and again, it's like Lou said earlier, they're trying to say it for our own good, perhaps, but it's not really for our good, right? So those early life experiences, those things that we're programmed, what we hear in the household, like in our upbringing, what our parents are saying, what our elders are saying, what our older brothers and sisters are saying about us, our childhood experiences, right? The success and failures that we feel, you didn't get picked for the team. You're sitting on the bench, like Jamel said, sitting on the bench at football and then getting up off our ass and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to be the best player on the team. So he just changed that. But he had that early experience where he was like sitting on the bench, being on the bench and not getting the playing time that he really, really wanted. Our social interactions, so acceptance and rejection by friends, that influences our confidence, right? Cultural expectations, the type of home, the type of culture that we were brought up in. Comparison, and we do this to ourselves, that self-talk, comparing ourselves to others, and that can affect our self-worth, right? And so we have to look back on our personal achievements and sometimes our failures, and that really, really impacts us, right? The accomplishments can boost our confidence, but if we fail and we have some repeated failures, well, that can really lead to self-doubt and really lead to, shutting down and not taking risks and retreating to this former self when we're trying to expand our awareness. And as Alicia talked about, our internal dialogue, so important, that self-talk. Is it positive or is it negative? Because that really, really, really shapes our self-image. And most important, right, when Jamel talked about it too, when we're standing in front of the mirror, what are we saying to ourselves, right? And I had a big thing like this. Sometimes I would really beat myself up because I think I know better. Like, you idiot, what are you doing? Like, why the bleep did you not do this or not do that? And you're stupid and this. So that really you always do that. You always mess up. And that's just self-talk. And we have to really, really adjust that. Be aware of it, right? Because it does come, but be aware of what our thinking is, and then we can change that thinking. So as soon as you recognize, that's that negative self-talk coming in, you have to shut it down, cancel that, and replace it with something positive. So it does take work, but it's becoming aware of what we're saying to ourselves, and who we were like once before. That doesn't mean that's who we are now, or who we need, or who we can become, right? That's just who we were. It doesn't mean that's who we can be. And so we just have to really adjust that programming, adjust that thermostat, as Lou said. But those are a lot of the things that really have influenced our self-image. And so it's really, it wasn't our fault, and Jamel said that's at the beginning, but we are in a position now to change it. It wasn't our fault that was the programming, but we are responsible now. We are responsible for ourselves moving forward. So we have to take responsibility. It takes a bit of work, and as Jamel said, that's why mentorship, that's why it really, really is so important. It really keeps you accountable. It really helps to keep you on track. I'll pass this on.
Yeah, you almost say all the thing. When for example, this client that told me that she was lazy, I said, yeah, but when you decided that you were lazy? And she said, I don't know. And I say, suppose that this is a baby coming, coming from the mother. She is born with a clean slate. And I told her, okay, it was when you were coming from your mother, the doctor told you put like this, and then they say, oh, she's lazy. Because sometimes we decide by ourselves, like, I am this, because something happened when we were child. Instead of thinking, okay, for example, I know that when I was a child, I was very envy for people that have money, because I was poor, and I was envy that, oh, they have this, they have that, they have that. So now when I feel like, do I feel envy? I have in my workplace that I have a mirror, and then I have also a picture of me. And then when I feel like, oh, like that, look, Jamil, he had this, I should do that. And I say, I feel a little bit envy. So I look at the mirror and my picture, and I tell her, the little Alicia, that is okay to feel envy in my body, because I don't feel envy. It's my younger me that is feeling envy, that don't know that I have everything to create whatever I want, and is working all the time with the self-image. Who do I want to be? Who to get that goal? So I set in my goals, and I say, okay, who do I need to be to create my goal for 2025? What do I need to because sometimes we want to have so many things, but we never sit down and ask ourselves, okay, who do I need to be in order to get that? And is the self-image who that person that I need to be? So yeah, just wanted to.
Okay, I'll just hop on. So what image? So I think we talked about a lot where our self-image, how it was established, that we made these small unconsciously made these small agreements to say, yeah, well, that's who I am. I am lazy. I am shy. I've heard my mother say, oh, she's shy, or they're just being lazy. So we made these personal agreements. But Jamel, when he was on the bench at football, there was a point where he said, I'm so done with just sitting here on the sidelines. It was like an emotional impact where he made a committed decision. I'm going to change that. I'm going to be the best player on the team. And because he made this conviction, this committed decision, he started to work out more, work out harder, show up, as his best self. So that goal, that decision influenced his actions. It influenced how he started to think. And this is why having a goal that you commit to say, you know what? I am so sick and tired of being unhealthy. I am so sick and tired of being broke or just getting by. I am so sick and tired of being in lousy relationships. I'm so done. And this is what I've come to realize, the beauty of contrast. I now appreciate contrast and the power that contrast brings, because it gives you clarity. It gives you clarity. And that's why when Jamel was on that bench, game after game, being overlooked, he got very clear that this is not how it's going to be from now on. And he went out and did his best and he energetically stepped into being the best player. His actions, his beliefs, his thoughts matched that of the best player on the team. And that's what we need to do. It's whatever it is that we want in life, whether it's health, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a career, whether it's financial, whatever it is, who shows up? Who are you showing up as that person? We need to match it energetically. Like if I have a vision, I work with many realtors. If I have a vision of what a top realtor is in my mind, I see right away someone that is dressed beautifully. They walk confidently. They always put their hand, to shake somebody's hand, and they have a nice, solid, firm handshake. They speak confidently. When they go on listing appointments, they are in charge. They're having a authentic conversation with the seller, but they give that seller a feeling of, wow, this person knows what they're doing. That's the vision that I have of a top producer. So if that is my goal, to be a top real estate agent, a top salesperson, whatever it may be, someone is in the best health of their life, I have to say, okay, what would that look like? What does that person, what do they embody? What kind of characteristics does that person embody? And now I allow myself and say, okay, I've got this. I've got this, because those are the stepping stones. Okay, walk taller, have a great handshake, smile, have a great attitude. Okay. And you start to incorporate these things. But in the beginning, this is what a lot of people feel. They have imposter syndrome, right? Well, that's not me. Guess what? It is you. The you that you've been playing small and self-doubt with limiting beliefs. Who am I? I can't. That is the imposter. So start to think about your goal and who is that person that's already achieved that goal, and what qualities, what attributes can you now start to incorporate in your life, and you will start to see amazing shifts starting to happen. Jamel.
Well said, Lou. Well said. Alicia, did you want me to kind of close up here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what influences, our self-image, basically our subconscious is open the first 7 years of our life, right? So all being from 0 to 1, to 7, your subconscious is wide open. You're letting all these things come into the essence of who you are, and you're allowing the outside to dictate and determine who you are and what you're capable of. And I look back at my life, I was like, wow, we weren't very wealthy, but my parents did the best they could, with the income that we had. We moved around a lot, so there's a lot of different factors that that did shape my self-image at the time. But now with this knowledge, I'm able to choose what I want and have the awareness of who I become to basically achieve whatever goal I want. This is why self-image and knowing this knowledge is so, so, so important. So this is not just knowledge passing on. We want you to take action. We have a beautiful exercise that we all are putting in the comments of our posts, and just have fun with this. Enjoy the process. You can watch videos all day, you can read books all day, but when you actually adapt it and add it to your life, you start seeing it differently, and you actually respect it and appreciate it more when you take that extra step. Don't let your old self-image hold you back from not doing this exercise. You showed up today for a reason. Show up for yourself. Say, I am doing this. I don't care if my old self says, oh, I just wanted to watch a video. No, I know I want more in life. I'm going to do this. Sorry, old self. This is my new self. 2025 is right around the corner. Why wait, and stay with limiting beliefs and stay with a lower self, knowing you're meant for more, right? 2024, goodbye. That's your old thinking. How many times you want to bring that into the next year? This is the new year. Start with the exercise. You came here. I see a couple people live, and a lot of you will watch the replay. We're all here to help you with this material. We send a lot of love out, and joy, and we want the best for you. That's why you can contact any one of us that you want to speak to. Our call links are in the description or the comments, or you can just message us. You know how to reach us. Don't let that self-image hold you back from taking the action. And Alicia is in high spirits. A happy new year. So speaking of new year, we are all having a higher self-image of ourselves, and we want the same for you. So we're going to spend a happy new year.
Yeah, I just want to say that the new year, be careful for who you give the microphone to. Those guys talking, or are you talking to yourself?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be amazing new year, for each of us and everyone watching. But you have to take that extra step to shed your old limiting self, because your greatness. I'll end here. Brian Matson has a really good self-image quote that I adapted in my routine. He said, and that's one of our mentors, and this is why mentorship is important. He said, what is my name? You state your name. I'm Jamel Matias. I'm intelligent. I'm creative, and I'm a winner. And I say this to myself in the mirror. What's inside of you? I have greatness inside me. I can be, do, or have anything I ever dreamed. And I tell myself this with conviction, with emotional. And then lastly, what is my goal? And you tell yourself that goal. And I added something. I end in gratitude. I thank Spirit for guidance. So you can use that. That's a little bonus there, but we have the exercise as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, my amazing colleague here. Happy New Year. Love and appreciation.
Many blessings.
Until next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy
Thank
New
you
Year.
for joining us.